Welcome back for our week 9 adventure. I apologize for being a little bit under the weather, but we're gonna make it work. Tonight we're gonna go over a couple of the injuries that have kind of shifted the tides a little bit of how teams are gonna play football this weekend. What are some ideas that you could throw out there and some fixes you could do? Try not to overreach, right? And that's a hard part of this time of year. And then we're gonna get into the schedule and see if we can find a matchup or two that we really like. Although not a lot of super sexy football games this weekend, you're going to find that there's a bunch of fantasy stars playing terrible defenses, which for us is perfect, right? So before we get into that part of it, a couple of big time injuries. None of these are surprising, I would say. I don't think anyone is shocked. There's one injury that I was surprised by, but we'll do the other ones first. No one is surprised that JT missed. No, didn't practice all week.
It's been not even that. It was like predated almost before last week's game.
It was
he's trending down.
Yeah, and then same as Keenan Allen comes off out of the bye, and they said the hamstring didn't respond as it was supposed to. No, you and I are not shocked by this outcome. This is something we've seen from Keenan every other year.
Well, at this point, it seems like he's not going to start at all this season.
At all, right? Michael Thomas is done for the year, but not. I don't even know why I even brought it up.
I remember I was thinking about you. Like,
yeah.
We literally had this conversation on the show. I was like, bruh, Brian, I'm surprised we haven't heard from Brian about that.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't heard from that too.
He literally said that was going to happen. That's probably his best. That's probably his only good take or correct take from preseason. Yes,
he crushed it. He nailed it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
The one injury that actually I'm looking forward to see how it changes the dynamic a little bit is J.D. McKissic is out and he might miss more than 1 week. He has a little bit of a hamstring knee issue. So what that does is it puts Gibson and Robinson basically in a 1-2 matchup, right? So whoever's going to be the hot hand, that's the dude who's going to produce today. Odds are that it's Gibson just because of the passing down volume. But you never know. Maybe they start getting ahead. Maybe they just start rushing it. I mean, Robinson's taken 25 carries before in a game. So it's hard to know. If you could play neither, that probably would be great. But I'm not in that position this week with a lot of buys out.
You should probably start Gibson, and I say that hoping.
Yeah,
that
I would start Gibson if I had to.
I'm saying that hoping, and I made it very clear. I hate Antonio Gibson. I can't stand him. I can't stand that he.
But if you had to pick one,
been playing over McKissic for so long, and now McKissic, and this is why I'm hoping that they start Gibson primarily over Robinson. I don't want them doing to Robinson what they did to McKissic, which is primary with Gibson, and then the shit downs they would throw in McKissic. And now he's beaten up for it.
Yep.
I don't want them to do that to Robinson. I want Robinson to develop behind Gibson and then kick Gibson's ass out the door when Robinson's ready. That's what I want.
Yep. The Cowboys, Niners, and Broncos, I'm sure there's others that I'm missing, are all on bye. So, of course, we don't have the wonderful services of McCaffrey, who is resurged in San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm sure some of you are thanking God right now for that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, geez.
I feel like I've played him every week at least once.
Mike Williams did avoid IR, so we don't know that it's going to be more than just this weekend. It's better than they thought originally. Rashad Bateman out for the year. Let's see. Hines goes over to Buffalo. We'll get into our trade section in a minute. I'm looking at everybody's. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anyone important. Jamar Chase also avoided IR. They're kind of hopeful, kind of not. Cordero comes back off of IR this week. He has not been activated for the game yet.
No, probably not.
But he's been playing Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday practice. It's not impossible, but if he does play, I would still curtail just a little bit. You don't want to go yard real quick. Sometimes they may even rest the first week or so. Be patient. If they're not comfortable, or you get like a report that's like, hey, he's a little banged up, don't do it because you're taking a huge risk there. They probably throw 10 plays.
They should rule him out if he's healthy and they're not going to start him. But what I could see them doing is not ruling him out because if he's healthy enough to play and they get behind, he will start.
He's going to have to. Yeah. So let's see. Next, James Conner has had some reports, but it is not looking great. So you probably can go ahead and play. Even if he does play at this rate, the injury's been so lingering that I don't see how he plays a full game. Because he's been out for 4 or 5 weeks now, it seems.
I can't believe that.
What's that?
James Conner still has a job there.
I'm not shocked. Chuba Hubbard ruled out. Reynolds for Detroit ruled out. Johan Dotson ruled out. Waller is close to being ruled out. They're not sure, but it's not looking great. JD McKissick, I already said that. Yeah, so that pretty much wraps up the injuries. So what does that do for fantasy? So here's what I would say. There is opportunity in the Washington backfield, but you're not going to know who's going to do it. Odds are, if I had to put money down, it would be Gibson, but you just don't know because that offense as a whole could just be shut down. You just don't know.
With Heineke back, I think that you can Scary Terry and Gibson.
Yes.
Their stock goes up a little bit more. Well, I'm saying specifically those guys, they have a rapport with Heineke. Heineke throws more. Curtis Samuel's stock went up when Heineke shut up. You know what I'm saying? I think both their starters are easily both their receivers are easily flexible, and I think Gibson.
I would say Terry probably is definitely receiver 2 range. Because the volume from Heineke's there. It's there. I'm not super familiar with the Vikings secondary. I don't like Terry, but that's irrelevant. Peterson's there. Marcus Peters? No, he plays for. No, he's the Ravens. Patrick Peterson is there. One of our big time players. They have.
I'm starting Curtis.
And then they have. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Mark Andrews has not practiced yet. If you are chilling and you have like a normal league, maybe you have some dudes who are really big time Ravens fans, but if they're not, Likely, the backup, his name is Likely, not the likely situation, is an excellent rookie. They're really big on him. They claim a Mark Andrews 2.0, a little bit taller, a little bit faster, but it's going to take time to develop someone like that to play at that level. But if I had to throw a dart with all the tight ends that are out, I'm throwing in Likely, not even thinking twice. Like I have Taysom Hill in right now, I will immediately dump Taysom Hill for Likely, no problem. So that pretty much covers the injuries. So I want to go into the schedule part, and as we go through the games, we'll kind of figure out because so-and-so is out, here's some guys we would take a look at. All right, so we didn't do the Philly and Houston game largely because it sounded gross to begin with, but you weren't changing who was going to start anyhow. There was no changes in that, right?
There's no hot takes with those teams.
No, you were going to start Hurts. You were going to start Sanders. You were going to start AJ Brown. Goddard has played great the past couple of weeks. Jalen's encouraging him more and more in the offense, and that's great. On the Houston side, Dameon Pierce is the only name of relevance, and just move on. And you're still going to have to hope for the best because he ran 140 yards and got 13 points or 14 points because he had no passes. He had nothing else. So don't get me wrong. I love the rushing. It's like Travis Etienne. But if he falls into the end zone, it's a monster game. But if he doesn't, yes,
140 yards with no touchdown. That is
on Philly.
That's abuse. That is abuse of your body. Think about that. That means every single time he was running, he was getting stopped. I mean, obviously he can go out of bounds, but most likely he was getting hit by somebody, even going out of bounds.
Yeah. Actually, they have some highlights, man. I got to send you some of these from Twitter. They were like, this is exactly who Marshawn Lynch is. Right. And it looked identical. Banging, still going. Just getting hammered 3 times and not going down. It was very, very much like Marshawn Lynch. Looked just like him. So we open up the week this weekend with Los Angeles going to Atlanta. Los Angeles is banged up, and that's putting it lightly. They are down 10 players across the board.
And the players that are in are injured.
Yeah, and half the players that are in are injured. Eckler is now off the injury list. He is a full go, but I don't. It wouldn't have affected his play anyway.
You're going to start him unless he was out.
Yeah. There's no reason. Can you play Herbert against Atlanta? Yeah, probably.
Most likely, you don't have a better quarterback if Fields or Geno Smith are available. One of those, people have just stuck to their guy that they drafted. Ditz was telling me about that about Herbert himself. I was trying to trade him Kirk Cousins because Kirk Cousins was and still is, unfortunately, playing better than Herbert. And I was like, hey, man, I don't need this quarterback. I'm willing to, trade you for a flex receiver, and he's like, I got to stick with Herbert. I drafted him. So there are guys in your league that are probably like that. So it's possible, I would pick up Fields and start him over Herbert. Maybe not this week. Maybe
I would do it in a heartbeat.
I'm not going to drop Herbert, but I would probably start Fields over.
I wouldn't drop Herbert, but I would also, and here's why.
Can't argue with the numbers.
So did you see who Fields has next week and the week after?
I didn't see the week after. I just saw it this week.
It's the weakest schedule I have ever seen.
The Jags have a pretty weak schedule too. But
Well, that's true.
I'm with you there.
Steelers are kind of on a good streak too, but we'll see if that fucking matters. But they're let me finish with Atlanta too. So of course you're playing Herbert, you're playing Eckler. They have the 2 rookie receivers, and like you can play them because that's who they got out there. I mean, someone's got to catch these passes. Everett is probably a very good play at tight end, as good as any I could think of. He's very involved with Herbert, so you can play him all the time. It shouldn't be an issue. Palmer or Carter, if I had to choose one, I'm told that Carter is the better one. But I haven't really watched them enough to say like they're very good.
So okay, I'm not an expert on Chargers football, but Palmer, I think, is not necessarily better. I think it seems like he has more fantasy value unless you have returning yards on.
Yeah.
Carter returns. He does kick returns and punt returns. So
that's what it is.
More valuable than Palmer in that instance.
Yeah.
Because even if he's getting less targets, like when he was playing with Mike Williams he was getting less targets, but he's still making up value. So if he's still returning and is getting more targets because Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are out, he's a very safe start. You notice he's in my roster this week.
Yep. Yeah. No, I mean, and his points were high even if we didn't have returning on, so it was fine. On Atlanta's side, the Chargers defense is not great at run defense, which is probably the most unfortunate team you could play. Because I don't think Atlanta knows what a pass is. They had like 10 last week and 7 the week prior, and that's all that. Listen, I will never advise you to play Kyle Pitts. I will never do that. Drake London's off the table. Drake London's almost into the cuttable range. Almost.
My brother's trying to trade me Drake London and Tampa's defense for Godwin.
No, not even close. Not even close.
I have no interest in Drake London.
If Cordero sits and you need a dart, Algier is probably the better of the running backs. I know Darryl, the second one, he's back on IR, so he's no longer in. So it's just Algier and Huntley now. It's Hundley, excuse me.
I thought it was Huntley.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly. One of those. So Algier is probably the one you play with like a dart throw, but you're not going to feel good about it. Mariota probably does well, but he also has the potential to. But the running probably is a pretty safe floor.
Sure.
As safe as a backup quarterback's going to be. But it brings me into the next game. This is one that I actually kind of like a lot of pieces on the table. Miami goes to Chicago. Weather's supposed to be gross. Tua might be bogged down a little bit by some rain and wind. We'll see. Raheem Mercer is now backed up by Jeff Wilson Jr. Both of these running backs
soon to be backing up Jeff Wilson.
Yeah,
that's right. Well, they are. They were in the San Francisco together.
Their head coach was their running backs coach. Mike McDaniel was like, "Give me both," and he got both.
When they were in San Francisco, it was impossible. They were good. It was impossible to know which one to start in fantasy.
Oh yeah, no, I could never tell you which one to play. No,
fuck me.
So there's something I'm all over. You're playing Waddle, you're playing Hill, you're playing Tua, you're playing probably Mostert because he returns, probably. But that's a little bit wishy-washy. But yeah, he's been playing well the past couple of weeks. Throw him in. I don't see the reason why not to at this point. Now, on the Bears side, okay. So, yes, Claypool is here. Yes. Claypool is scheduled for like a maximum, I think they said 25, 30 plays was maximum. All right. More likely the 10 to 20 range is where he'll play. However, if you have watched the passing game in Chicago, good luck predicting who's getting those balls because I don't know half the names of those receivers, and they seem to be getting 5 to 6 looks, whereas Darnell Mooney, who is definitely their most elite receiver, is still kind of down in the mud. You play Herbert, you play Monty. If you need a dart throw, I legit would put Monty into flex range, borderline towards the bad side of the flex range at this point. Herbert is probably in the flex range on closer to the good side, but it's not great, man.
His value, 3 games is a pattern, right? So if he goes for 15 for a third game, I believe he should be what he's been the last 2 games, which is the primary back. You're looking at Harris and Stevenson situation here.
Yep.
Herbert is Harris. It's not Damian Harris's league's above Montgomery, and he's taken a back seat to Stevenson.
Yeah.
Montgomery should be behind Herbert.
Yeah. It's
He
as simple
shouldn't
as
be.
that.
He should be out the whole game. He should come in for relief, and Herbert should be running primary.
Yeah.
I've started both of them
it.
because they've been booming in my shittier league, my 12-man league that is just, agony.
It's all good.
And they've boloed both of them have boloed for me because they're just, you have no clue how they're going to play that week.
Yeah, no. And no, I just saw there's a thing on our Twitter. It was like Cole Kmet. No, dude. No, stop. But if you also, I'm not even saying this is a replacement. I'm saying we're approaching a QB startable. We're getting there. There's probably some growing pains to go. I'm sure there are. But his showing in Dallas was super encouraging to me. That was an excellent playing game for Fields for what he does with the run and the throw. I don't know why he jumped over Micah Parsons and didn't touch him when he returned that fumble. I have no idea what that move was, but in any case, it bit him in the ass anyhow. I mean, they weren't going to win that game. They weren't. But Fields played well as he could.
Oh, I don't know about that. They could have won that game.
26 points, though, is what Fields walked away with. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good. I'm saying Chicago could have beat them. That's what I'm saying.
I think that defense was going to get taken to town one way or another.
It
was too much because they had already lost their fucking dudes. That's my, you know what I mean?
What do you mean they
like
lost
they're trading
dudes?
Away Quinn and now Roquan Smith and them. You know what I mean?
I mean, they weren't stopping Dallas from scoring, not necessarily, but they were only down.
They were hanging.
Before that huge Pollard touchdown that ended the game.
Yeah.
Before that was the defensive touchdown, right, from the fumble from Montgomery.
Oh yeah.
Take away that touchdown. That drive, if that drive ends in a touchdown, that puts Chicago up. The game's this fucking close on that Pollard touchdown. Even if that drive ends the same, the game's still this close.
They hung tough. They hung tough.
So it's a lot closer than I think Dallas fans will ever admit.
Yeah.
One sec before we continue. Is it possible for Ditz to join us mid?
Just jump on in. Tell him to jump right on in.
All right.
I sent him the link already to Discord.
Here's the problem. He's an hour behind you.
It's all right.
So he thought you meant 8 his time.
Hey.
Not.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be joined by a buddy of ours. Don't worry about it. Yeah, just tell him to hop on in. There's no rush.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's I'm playing Justin Fields over a lot of quarterbacks. I'm playing Justin Fields over dudes like Kirk Cousins. I'm close to Herbert, but Herbert needs to turn a page. He's got to figure this out because he has not played good football to this year.
Ribs, man.
He's played fine, but it's not good.
That injury is clearly affecting him.
It's clearly a problem. It's clearly a problem.
It's agony.
I'm playing him over Goff. I'm playing him over Mariota. I'm playing him over PJ Walker for fucking sure.
You think so?
I'm playing him over Aaron Rodgers. I am.
Well, I'd probably start him over Aaron Rodgers, but I don't like Aaron Rodgers. I don't know that I wouldn't.
That's not a really good question.
Depending on who PJ Walker is playing, I don't know that I'm starting.
PJ's got Cincy. In Cincy.
Yeah, I'm probably not playing him against Cincy. But then again,
it's the next game up anyway, so tell me who you would play.
What's that?
Next game on the schedule anyway. Carolina goes to Cincy. All right.
So Carolina, obviously, starting DJ Moore, PJ Walker. Did you watch the Atlanta game? PJ Walker can throw.
Yeah, no, he's got a fucking
arm. I think honestly, I think people are talking about how Geno is like on his come up. I think that PJ Walker and Geno are very similar.
Yeah. PJ has throws that you're like, that is elite. That was an elite
I
throw.
think that was a record that most of the time in the air for a ball or distance through the air.
And the week prior, he had some throws that were you were like, that's insane. Yeah, I mean, like the guy's played has made some throws that are like otherworldly.
Yeah, those XFL dudes, man, they play with a little bit more heart. I think some of these spoiled brats in the NFL.
This didn't change even with the injury to Chuba Hubbard. You were starting Donta no matter what.
I think it would be crazy to expect anyone that would expect for Hubbard to come back and immediately take up. There
you
go. Look, my bad. Looking back at it, you said 8 Eastern time. My bad.
Hey, man, I'm sure it's on me.
Now, I mean, usually it is, but this time
I'll take the fall. I'll take the
fall. Touchdown Radio Clown World. This is our friend Bradley or Ditz.
How's it going?
We'll probably go with Ditz since it's what we've been talking about him at.
Yeah.
And so we are bringing in our man Ditz here tonight because our Ditz is in his first year with our league here and has made some incredible decisions that have really just benefited his roster and really has not made a bad call that I can recall yet.
Beasley.
When he's a Steelers fan.
Cole Beasley. Okay, I take that back. But then he retired, so you don't see that coming. Right?
We can equate Cole Beasley retiring to you picking him up. So in the end, it was a good call because Jim can die happy knowing Beasley's
seriously.
not in the NFL.
Oh, fuck that guy. All right, so we're going right now, Bradley. We're going through our schedule right here, and right now we have Carolina going to Cincinnati this weekend, and we were just wrapping up the Carolina side of players that you would play or dart throws that you might consider. We just finished off with even if Chuba was in, you were playing Donta no matter what.
No matter what,
yeah.
I make that decision
what else you got?
off of because Nick Chubb, obviously having an out saying now I get Nick Chubb is number 3 running back right now in the league.
It's way up there.
I get that, right? But still, I think Deontay Foreman, you got to remember when he was a backup for Derrick Henry, I mean, he just was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I said this. And people made fun of me. They said, you don't know what you're talking about. Donta Foreman's not that good. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot.
Now you're saying.
He balled out.
My concern was that he was in Carolina with a team that wasn't good.
I mean, it doesn't
seem to matter.
When you're a big, strong dude who just carries linemen. It doesn't make a difference.
I won't necessarily say he was not on a good team. I just think he was never going
Carolina's a bad team.
He was never going to get any playing time with CMC.
With McCaffrey.
You're never going to see the.
I've been bitching about him being behind him and Justin Jackson, I think, that was behind Eckler last year.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're sticking these all-star running backs behind dudes who are never going to come out until they're injured.
Yeah.
Just whenever you have a dart throw or someone in mind, Brad, just throw it out there. Like, it doesn't matter. Whatever we're talking about, just throw it out there. Like, hey, by the way, I'm checking out this guy because there's a couple in here that I'm going to throw your way. See what you feel like. So on the Cincinnati side, right, you have your standard guys. You're, of course, playing Mixon, Burrow,
Are you playing
Higgins.
Mixon? Are you playing Mixon?
Stop being salty.
Against Carolina?
Fuck Mixon.
Against Carolina?
He played against the Browns, and he almost boloed.
The Browns are not a bad.
I think he's had one game above 20 points this year. One.
So Raymond had the same disease last year with Joe Mixon.
It's worse this year.
And this year he has not been cured of it.
It was way worse this year. Last year he would occasionally, every 5 games, put a 30.
Go like 30, 40,
Yeah, he hasn't done it yet.
But if you took him where you were supposed to take him around those rounds, you've got to play him.
Okay, are you starting Donta Foreman over Joe Mixon?
No.
You're crazy. You're both crazy. There's no way Donta Foreman doesn't outscore Joe Mixon. It's because the offense
Joe is in is much, much better. That's why. It's also because Joe Mixon is an elite talent, right? Him not having 30 points doesn't make him not elite. And Donta having 30 points last week does not make him better than the other dudes who are.
Donta is elite. Donta is better. Is not saying he's not elite. Joe Mixon. He is an elite running back.
But
here's the problem. Joe Mixon suffers from this like no more than any other running back. When they get behind, they stop fucking handing the ball to him. He suffers it more than any other running back.
My favorite, Ray, you forget. Joe will get down to like the 1-inch line, and then Burrow will rush it in, and I'll get the points, and then Ray will lose his mind, and I'm always like, yeah.
I've never raged at a team that wasn't Buffalo than I did that week that Joe Burrow stole that touchdown from Joe Mixon, and I lost.
He's done it like 3 times this year, by the way.
I lost to Dislike week because of it. I was in a hotel room. I went ape shit.
By 2 points.
Yeah, that touchdound would have saved me. I went ape shit in that hotel room. I've never been so angry over a team that was not Buffalo.
So, Brad, let me ask you, man. I just forgot, too. Because of the way the world at the tight end works, you're playing Hayden Hurst, who's played good football lately. He's still a tight end 1 because he's as good as a bet as any other tight end I can think of, honestly.
Better, probably, than most.
Better than most, I would say, yeah. So, this week, Brad, what do you think of Tyler Boyd's chances? What do you think? What type of game do you think is reasonable to expect?
I think that you can't go off of Tyler Boyd's game last week against Cleveland, even though I thought he had a good one, right? 12.
Yeah, it was all right.
It was 12.
It's pretty very playable.
Yeah,
very playable.
But Tyler Boyd has had those games this season where even as the third man, has gotten more receptions than the 2
points.
Elite wide receivers to his left and right, and Higgins and Chase. So now that Chase is definitely out of that picture, I think last week was the time for him to show up. Unfortunately, nobody from Cincinnati showed up.
No, they all sucked.
Burrow was getting absolutely slaughtered. He's been hit more times, I think, this year than he did the whole season last year. It's unreal.
I mean, I could have told you
he's been sacked 99 times in his career.
So do you does Boyd fall into like he's an auto start, right?
Yeah, he's probably against Carolina. You gotta go because Burrow's just they're gonna come out mad because they shouldn't have lost
I agree.
to Cleveland. And if you lose
Yep.
to a
Yeah.
team
And
that
they got
you shouldn't have
schooled.
lost to,
They always lose to Cleveland,
I mean,
though.
it's
They do.
time to
They
play
do.
the
Joe's
game.
never beat them.
No, they can't.
Okay. So that takes us into probably my least favorite game on the schedule. And that's saying a lot because a lot of these games are gross, right? Green Bay goes to Detroit. All right. God damn it. I have to talk about Green Bay. Okay. Look, Lazard is fully back.
Yep.
He had no limitations at practice the
as
past.
back as he can be. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still
I
Lazard.
mean, if you had to play a receiver for the Packers, I think Brad would agree. Lazard's probably your best bet
for sure.
for consistency.
For sure.
It comes down to the fact that like they just don't like their rookie receivers right now, man. They're not happy that they have to throw to them.
I
And they
think
get
I
pissed
think
about it.
Rodgers is starting to build a relationship with Dobbs because Dobbs clutches up for him.
Yeah, I'll play Dubes. Yeah, I would.
Dubes. It's definitely Dobbs. It's definitely Dobbs.
Dubes.
It's
D-O-U-B-S.
definitely Dobbs. Get the fuck out of here.
Hey, the
Yeah,
announcer
yes.
said Dobbs, so I'm going with Dobbs.
Dobbs like 100,000 times.
You know what? Where am I, Ray? You know what? You always agree with Chris Collinsworth. We'll just go with what Chris said. You're right.
You know what? You got me
Yeah,
there. Touche.
You're playing Aaron Jones. You're playing Tanyan, but he's probably the tier right below that Hurst level.
Who cares? It's a tight end.
It's
Start
tight
wherever you
end.
want.
Don't hope for much. I'd say. The sneaky pick to me and my dart throw here is actually A.J. Dillon. And I say that because Detroit's defense is garbage. So at some point, if they find themselves ahead by a bunch, A.J. Dillon's getting all of that work. They are not risking A.J. They are not risking anything else.
They're not
AJ
Jones.
Aaron
I knew what
Jones,
you meant when you said AJ.
Yeah. But this is if you had a deep flex or someone in that where like someone's injured or on bye and your market is trash, I'll throw AJ Dillon before a lot of these other options. Before Kenyon Drake, absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Way before that.
It's so tough.
I can't.
On the one hand, it's
it.
funny because I know that Dillon is a good athlete. I know he's incredibly athletic, and he's a huge dude. He's very
massive
powerful.
dude.
He's a great runner. I also see him on TikTok playing fucking Call of Duty all the time and live streaming. It's like, shouldn't you be practicing, guy? What are you doing?
Eckler does the same. Eckler plays a lot of games.
I don't see it for Eckler though, so I can't really, and he gets a lot more field time too. So
Brad, am I missing anyone on Green Bay that you have an eyeball on?
Green Bay.
Are you considering Watson? No, right?
No, I'm throwing Watson.
The injuries have been too much
in the career or in the season. I'm throwing Watson back on free agency.
Yep. Boom. Okay.
Just because, I mean, like you said, Aaron Rodgers is trying to develop these guys, and he's trying to develop them kind of quick. Their season's
it's rapid.
starting to go.
I think
downhill.
he's not trying to develop them, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
He's trying to force them into. Yeah, he's trying to force them into already being there, and he's not taking the time during the week, and definitely not during the preseason to work with these guys.
What's crazy too is me and Ray last weekend when the Packers went to Buffalo, or was that last weekend? Yeah. Right? Yeah. Dobbs, whatever the fuck, made an amazing grab. Right? So we're giving them shit. Yeah. That was one of the top tier grabs you're going to see, man. Like over the top of the safety and just hits it. And it was a great play. So like he gives these. Here's my issue with Rodgers. There are many issues, first of all, but here's the one I'm going to stick to. This dude will come off right the week prior and say a bunch of shit like, "Hey, those who are dropping passes need less chances. We need to play better." And then that dude will go out and make a play like that. And when you won't see an interview after the game, win, lose, or draw, like, "Hey, that was a great gap. Our dudes are coming along." Nope, he's still a piss baby.
He's a piece of shit.
That's why I don't like him.
I mean, that's why I don't like Aaron Rodgers too. I agree.
Give your dudes credit, man. That was a great play. Like you not being able to throw 40 touchdowns a game is not their fucking problem, right? So that's why I have an issue with it. They don't have a good offensive flow. And you can see it in like the erratic run game numbers, right? Like 30 yards, 140, 16 yards, 45. You can't predict what they're going to do.
Yeah.
To the bad side of that debate, So that's my issue with it. Is like it takes so long to get rookies. Chris Olaves are not common, man. Dudes who can go out there and ball for like 8 to 10 catches a game is not common.
And as a rookie,
so
he's crazy talented.
And it is a lot about volume and opportunity and what they're doing with him. But at the same time, they also don't expect him to win the game.
Olave was kind of putting up good numbers when Landry and Thomas were still playing.
He was still playable.
Just going out there and getting catches.
I'm not saying that. What my point being is like he is not their savior, right? Like that's the issue that I have with it. And they treat those rookie receivers like that in Green Bay. So on the Detroit side, who you got for me, Ray? Who you playing?
Probably Jamal Williams. I'd probably start Jamal
Swift
Williams.
is active.
Even though he's active, Jamal Williams has so many touchdowns on the year. And I know we say touchdowns are not you can't rely
Reliable.
on touchdowns, but it keeps happening.
We're at that point.
It seems like even when Swift does well, Jamal is doing well that day too. The only time Jamal does poorly is when Swift does poorly. So it's like you can't really choose.
But a major change has happened.
What's that?
You no longer have your
TJ?
all-star tight end.
Yeah.
How does that change this game for Detroit?
Probably a lot. Jamal Williams, they're both really dominant running backs, and they can both punch through the line. So, I mean, it's not like they can't get the job done without him.
Right.
I'd still probably would start both those dudes. More than likely, you drafted DeAndre Swift in like the 3rd round at the latest.
Yeah, who's up there?
You probably have to start him. It's unlikely that you found. Maybe you got lucky and picked up Donta, and you now have someone you can start over him.
Maybe you got a lucky guess earlier in the year.
If you didn't, if you don't have Eno, and honestly, I would still start Swift over Eno, even if Connor is out, just because Arizona's running game is erratic.
Yeah, it's weird. It's hard to.
I think both those dudes are startable because they're talent volume, and just we're in week 9 now, and they've just scored pretty consistently.
Yep.
The receivers, Amon, probably going to start him.
Yeah.
I think with some of those receivers, if you have a better option, I probably would take it. There's a lot of risk
down
there.
To like 3rd and 4th strings. So,
Chark, isn't it? Is Chark out?
Chark is still out. Yeah. They are down to. I think Reynolds is out too.
Mm.
They're going down to
So
Khalif Raymond.
Yep, Khalif Raymond. He plays okay.
Let's go.
He plays
That's
okay.
right, Raymond.
Yeah.
Ditz, what you got for us, man? Anything in this game that you like or a dart throw that you would take?
I'm going to say off Amon St. Brown. So, as a Stephon Diggs owner, and then probably had the 3rd worst game of the season. Somebody with an experienced quarterback like Josh Allen, only getting 22 points. I would not play Amon St. Brown. If I have somebody better, I'm playing pretty much any other number 1 receiver.
Yeah. Would you start Chris Godwin over Amon St. Brown?
They're pretty close.
Chris Godwin's average is 15 points, but he's probably going to almost guarantee get 15 points.
But he's going.
It's pretty much a guarantee.
But his matchup is going to be probably Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
Ramsey should be against Evans, but because
Amon's stealing is 40 points.
Everybody knows Godwin's the better receiver. So what happens? Yeah. I don't know, man. Amon balled out super early in the year, but he has not really had a whole lot of sexy games.
But that injury was a bigger deal than people realize. I don't.
Yeah,
think
it interferes and it slows down your momentum. But that's.
I don't want to make it sound like he's a bad dude.
No, yeah,
injuries suck.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We're all in the same ballpark there. Another gross one. Indy goes to New England. On the Indy side, JT's out. So what? Okay, I talked about this right before I started the show. One of two things is going to happen. Either Pittman's going to have a monster game, right? And or Deion Jackson has an okay game and the Colts get destroyed, right? You are not starting anyone but Pittman and Deion on a fly. I can't suggest any other player on that Colts offense. None. Paris Campbell, no. Pierce, no. Nope. I understand they've had good games. I understand that. But that quarterback, I still don't know. I still don't understand his tendencies. I don't know how he'll play.
Yeah.
There are two big, major inside the 10-yard line turnovers the Colts had last weekend that completely shifted the tide of the game. And that game goes completely different if it doesn't happen. But it did. And it happened because the quarterback was scrambling like we thought he might. Maybe they take that out and they're like, hey, that was trash. Don't do that again, right? But I don't – you're not playing anyone else. No one can make an argument for it. But on the New England side, who are you playing?
Ooh, on the New England side.
Harris is out, by the way. He's been ruled out.
So who's out?
Damian Harris has been ruled out for illness.
Okay. But Ramondre.
The flu's been tagging me.
Stevenson's still playing.
What's that? Oh, yeah.
So that's an auto start. I think Stevenson at this point has earned himself an auto start.
Yeah, at least like a top 5, top 10 running back at this point.
Is Zappe still playing? Or did they bring
No, Mac Jones is listed as the starter.
So, honestly, wide receiver-wise, they don't have a big name wide receiver. I think for New England, their hard part is they may have somebody in that roster spot as a wide receiver 1, but they do not have a wide receiver 1.
Would it surprise you if I were to tell you that Jacoby Myers is now wide receiver 14 on the year with points per reception leads?
Talked so much shit on Jacoby Myers.
I would
Bradley.
be baffled.
Because of the lack of touchdowns, we don't see it a lot. But the consistency.
Especially if I've said this on the show. If you watch red zone only, you will never see Jacoby Myers.
No, you'll never see him.
And then you look at your roster and it's like, how the fuck does he have 22 points? And it's just yards. It's all yards and completions. Yep.
So now here's what I'll say. I'm with Brad on this. If it were Zappy, I would absolutely play Jacoby because he loves finding Jacoby.
Yeah.
With Mac, I'm like positive this injury is still crushing him. I don't know why they keep throwing him out there. I truly don't.
Probably because they want to squash
Mac,
the QB battle talk because it's annoying. It doesn't help.
Anyway, while they continue to like throw duck balls out there, they can do that on their own time. All right. Yeah. Just lame ducks coming out of his arm and shit. Right. But I'll go with Brad on that one. I think if Zappy's in, it does change it. Like Jacoby was on the flex with Mac, and if Zapp's in, he's a start. You start.
I haven't really had any issues since I picked up Jacoby and started him in a couple of my leagues, even with Mac in. I think it's always crazy when you have. It's kind of like with Amari in Cleveland. It was like, well, you throw to him and then you win. Yeah. And then the next week you don't throw him and you lose. It's like, how long is it going to take you to figure out to throw to your best receiver?
Okay, I'm going to make an argument that's going to be nonsensical, but hang with me for a second. Right? Just get to hang with me. All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to go down to Minnesota going to Washington. All right. Now Minnesota is now rocking 6-1. They've played in some tight games and they've won some gutty games. Their wins are not clean, not all of them anyway. Now here's what I'm going to say, and Ray's going to hate this. He's going to hate it so much. Watch this.
Probably.
3 weeks ago, Brian Robinson Jr. comes off of IR and starts in his first game. They start, right? Like, I know they use the term starter lightly there. I understand. Since he has started, they've won 4 straight.
Okay.
They've won 4 straight games. Because what they're doing is they're giving Brian Robinson Jr. 20 to 25 carries like a sledgehammer. He's just wearing them down. Doesn't have to look good. Doesn't have to be sexy. And then Antonio Gibson sweeps out the back way faster than any dude that's been hit 45 times this game, right? The mentality switch from like, okay, I know it's gross. I know it's not sexy, but I'm a body throws all game long. And by the time it gets to the fourth quarter, they can't catch Heineke. They can't catch McLaurin, and they can't catch Samuel, right? So it's working. It's just not very good for fantasy at the moment.
Right.
But if Robinson falls in the end zone, that's a good game.
It's just not reliable.
It's just not going to happen often, right? So I've said my piece on Washington. You're playing McLaurin. You're playing Samuel. Samuel's flex. I'll put him in the flex range because the inconsistency's been there a little bit. But Heineke has been pretty spreadable with the ball. I wouldn't say he's only one dude. You're not touching their tight ends. And I'm probably not playing Heineke unless I need to start playing. And it's not great. I'm not feeling good about it. But what y'all got for me on the Minnesota side?
2. Start Dalvin. Yep. Start
obviously.
JJ. And I even put Thielen on a flex.
Thielen,
I agree with you here.
I'm still on board with Thielen. I had him my first year in fantasy, and he played well for me, but that was before Jefferson.
It was his rookie year. Yeah.
And I would say if you don't have one of the better tight ends that always score high, you can probably still throw TJ Hawkinson in there, and I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I think you'll find him blocking roles.
Okay, I understand that you say that. The tight end position in fantasy football is a fucking joke, and
if it's a guy who can do 40 points, though. But he's not there. He hasn't been there nearly long enough. My point being, like, when you play Kittle and you play Mark Andrews and you play Kelsey, you don't use the phrase, it's the tight end, though. Right?
Yeah, because those are tight ends.
Right. But my point being, right, like Hawkinson's in that tier for me once he gets settled in the offense.
We'll
right?
see.
So I think you're right this weekend, right?
Year.
I would also say there was something else I was going to say. Okay. Adam Thielen or Robert Woods?
Adam Thielen.
Yep, Thielen.
Yeah.
There's no QB.
Because Robert is like the number one, and they don't give a fuck because they just don't throw.
They
just don't throw.
Absolutely not.
No. They're like the Falcons. You're not going to get a pass.
No.
It's crazy because A.J. Brown in that spot was absolutely startable as much as I fucking hated him the last 2 seasons that I had him. but Tannehill has disappeared. He's not a person anymore. He's died and gone to heaven. And obviously, Malik Willis is not near as good as they were hoping.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the second to last and then come back to the last 1 o'clock window game because I know we're going to be on that one. So the second to last here is, Raiders go to Jacksonville. Having been an Etienne shareholder and it finally being relevant, you're starting Etienne full go because there's no one else there. I mean, Hasty's there, but like he played like 10 snaps to Etienne's 160-yard game, right? You could play Kirk on a flex. I think Kirk probably has an okay game here. If he gets a touchdown, he has a good game. But this to me is a get-right game for Lawrence, and this is a game to settle his ass down because he's had 3 like heartbreaking losses now, back to back to back. And when I showed Ray, I could not get over. The Giants were this close to losing to Jacksonville. And that safety hits Kirk out of the end zone. And it was like one of the best plays of the year, completely irrelevant because the teams, they're not huge fan bases. But Ray was like, I don't know, Jim, shut up. You know what I'm talking about. And then he was like, he was that close. I was like, I'm telling you, man, if he goes one more inch this way, the Giants lose that game.
It was a big hit. But it was a sure
great
hit.
game.
Like they saw that, they read that play from like a mile away. It wasn't, it honestly wasn't that close. Yeah.
The poise was just like, it was there, right? So I think this is a get right game. Oh, you know who I actually am starting no matter what? Evan Ingram. I'm starting him. The consistency is
who cares?
undeniable.
Tight end. I don't care who you start in the tight end position.
Yeah.
They all suck.
Yep. And he fell in the end zone for the first time last weekend, and he ended up with like a 17-point game. But every game, 5 catches, 60 yards. Evan Ingram hits that mark like every time. Nothing special, but consistent points, right? So if you're like, I need like 10 points, Evan's your guy.
Sure.
You gotcha. All right. That's it on the Jacksonville side. I'm not playing anyone else. You could say, but I'm not playing anyone else.
I probably honestly, with the only reason that I would start Etienne is because of just sheer volume of how running backs are.
Yeah,
when they don't have a compact field, I'm not starting anyone else in Jacksonville. I just don't like that offense.
I wouldn't have to, but I would if I had to flex Kirk. I'd be all right with that. I think I'd be all right.
I guess.
What you got for me on the Vegas side, Ditz?
Ooh, so last week they scored that big old.
That was not a football game.
They scored that big old goose egg.
Yeah,
goose egg.
It was unwatchable.
But Jacobs auto start.
Yep.
Devontae, questionable year as he's had. I still play Devontae there.
Yeah.
I think I leave Waller. I on the bench there. I don't think after you score 0 points. Now, sure, this Las Vegas team has had some crazy shootout with some teams like Kansas City.
Some good teams.
And it just blows my mind like that you see them score nothing against New Orleans. Mind you, however ranking New Orleans is, not many goose eggs against New Orleans. But Devontae and Jacobs are probably that auto start range just because of what they can do.
How bad would it have to be for you to play Carr right now?
Oh, I mean, I'm talking like if
average 12 points.
If I had Carson Wentz and obviously he's down and my backup might be Jameis Winston, that's the only time I'm playing Carr.
Well, what about would you play Sam Ehlinger or Carr?
I'm playing Ehlinger.
I play Carr.
Ehlinger runs. Any running quarterback that's starting is more valuable. Who is a notorious despiser of Trevor Lawrence, would start Trevor Lawrence over Derek Carr. Derek Carr does not bring a lot of value to him if he's not making completions. It's Devontae is the issue. Devontae is both the solution and the problem on that offense. He shows up, they completely alter their play calling, and now all of those other receivers they had that are completely useless. Hunter Renfrow looks at like sub-3 targets every week. Yeah. He's not going to have 30 targets on the year.
You can't play him.
No. It's unbelievable. From a dude who used to score 12 to 20 points every week to doesn't even have 3 targets.
Receptions last year. Am I wrong?
Yeah. He was phenomenal. I started him every week last year.
You know, because I know he wasn't the number 1 receiver on that team last year.
So,
they said Zay Jones was, but as a Buffalo fan, I'm not a huge fan of Zay Jones. He played for us, but I despised him since he left.
No. Now, since we said that, the last 1 o'clock game, the Bills go to the Jets. So, I'll let Ray take the Bills, obviously. On the Jets side, I actually really like Michael Carter here. I really like his possibility And I like it because he doesn't have to trust that O-line to rush it, right? His pass catching ability is what's going to make it in the linebacker range and maybe force a one-on-one play. Maybe he misses a tackle or two. I will play Carter here. If I had to, I'd pick Wilson as a receiver to play. Maybe. I'm not thrilled about it. I don't want to, but I will if I had to pick any of them.
Sure.
And that's it. I'm not playing Conklin. I don't care. I'm not playing Conklin because Uzomah is still a threat to him. I'm not playing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what a tight end doesn't need above anything else? A threat to another tight end.
Yeah,
That's
I know. But it's like a threat
situation.
that shouldn't exist because every time they've started Uzomah, he's done terrible. And every time they've started Conklin, he's done great.
I'm just telling you.
I'm still starting Conklin. I hate the tight end position. I don't give a shit who I start, but I'm going to start the best of who's available, which is my advice to everyone else.
And
if someone is projected to score more, go pick them up. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. All right.
And then if Buffalo hasn't learned from last week, when Aaron Jones just ran through him, I think Carter's going to have a big one.
Yeah, no, I like Carter here a lot, and I'm not playing James Robinson yet, but I like Carter's position a lot here.
So they Von Miller talked about this multiple times after the Packers game. They kept expecting Rodgers to throw, so they were playing expecting him to throw, which also we bitched about Tremaine just before that game. We're like, man. What's great about Von Miller is he goes after the quarterback so Tremaine can fucking stay in the middle of the field.
Stay in the lane.
And then hit that hole. And then his bitch ass was off to the left, and I see Aaron Jones cutting up the middle. I was like, you fucking long-haired idiot.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
It's so perfect. Like, their lineup is so perfect with Matt Milano and Von Miller and Tremaine Edmonds. You just sit right there.
Yes, just sit
Everyone run their routes, and then Tremaine, sit there with your angry ass. And then just get ready to hit the first dude that dares cross that line of scrimmage. Whoever crosses it, you crush him. And your bloodlust would be satisfied, but no. He has to go after where he thinks the ball is, and it's not there. Driving me nuts.
On your offense, who are you playing? Because I feel like you and I are going to have a disagreement here.
You know what's crazy is that Singletary is like a top 20 running back on the year.
I'll play him.
It's unbelievable. So most likely, if you aren't me, and I'm going to start mixing over Singletary, obviously, because of the boom potential. But they score similarly. You know what I'm saying? Especially, neither of them get touchdowns, so it's entirely based off of yardage.
True.
They both catch passes. Mm-hmm. They both, they make pretty good cuts.
They both run well.
Yeah. So he's like top 20. I think he's like 15 on the year or some shit like that. So I think you can safely start him, assuming you don't have two dominant running backs, right? If you don't have an Eckler and a fucking Mixon on your team, you're probably going to end up starting Singletary. Obviously, you're starting Diggs and Josh Allen. That's not even a question.
So I'm glad we got there. Here's my question, right? What if two things will happen? Sauce Gardner, who I will bitch about till the year is over, and I would tell you my problem right after this, Brad. I'm going to tell you my problem with him. If he goes with Diggs, Davis will have a game. Mm-hmm. But if he goes with Davis, you cannot play Davis.
Yeah.
He will not produce.
No.
So here's my issue. Sauce Gardner, every time he's on the shadow report or whoever he's shadowing, they do not flag this dude for being like the most physical corner. Watch the Sutton reviews. When you watch him just tackle Sutton, pull on Sutton, do all this, of course the ball was incomplete. You fucking idiot. You're allowed to throw the receiver like that. You're going to be the best in the league.
Sutton's on the ground before the ball. Yeah.
Even close to how other corners are flagged. And it drives me bananas because that's not how it is. Right. Yeah. And if he's allowed to play like that on Diggs, Diggs might have a hard game, dude.
He's not going to get away with throwing Diggs down a lot. That O-line will literally kill you. I didn't think he would
throw Sutton down a lot.
No, Denver's line is not going to die for Sutton.
Rookie corner.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Denver's line is not about to go beat somebody to death over Sutton. Buffalo's O-line will literally murder you. They're not going to stand for it. I can tell you that.
Listen.
Dude, look at what happened between Jair Alexander. Listen, Jair Alexander and Diggs were chippy before the game started. And look what happened.
The only one worth
Diggs still had a good 8.
Yeah, obviously. Diggs had it. Well, they refused to line Jair Alexander up against Diggs because they knew he'd get fucking mossed, which is why I love that Jair likes to pretend he could talk shit while he was matched up with Davis the whole game. Davis went to bat for Jair while he's running his mouth to Diggs. If some fucking rookie is getting chippy with Stephon Diggs, I guarantee you Davis is gonna get involved.
Look, my money is still on Diggs. I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is if they let them play like how he has all year, it's
The
gonna be a
players
fucking
will
bananas
correct.
game in Buffalo, dude.
It's not going to
Brad,
stand in
any
Buffalo.
thoughts?
That's what I'm saying.
What you got for me, Brad?
Ooh, I mean, I'm not playing Davis. Me personally,
I'm not.
Me personally,
No,
I'm not playing
I don't
Flex
like the
Davis,
matchup.
I'm not
but
playing.
it's not a safe
who's
flex.
the third?
He's
McKenzie,
good,
right?
but it's
The third dude's
inconsistent.
McKenzie.
McKenzie's a third.
At that point,
Yeah.
Allegedly.
you know what's so crazy with me? Because I look at what people are projected to do like
Mhm.
all season long. I look at people's projections.
Yeah.
I'll click on their name and look at what they're projected to do, And then I see McKenzie still getting projected like 16 points a week, and I'm like, he's third. And he's getting projected 4 less than Diggs.
Yeah, because if he played as well as on paper he should be, he could be getting that volume.
But
he
that
does
Chiefs game
dumb
was
shit.
bad. That Chiefs game was bad he dropped like 4 or 5 passes that were critical.
He frustrates me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that.
Yeah, you're not playing him.
I'll tell you, here's something about the Bills offense that might not happen this game, but it's going to happen probably eventually, is Hines going to Buffalo is going to pull targets from people. I don't know who he's going to pull targets from exactly.
McKenzie.
I would love to see Hines in the slot and Singletary still in the backfield. I would love to see that.
McKenzie.
Like when Wilson and McCaffrey were lining up like that, McCaffrey was lining up as a receiver and Wilson was in the backfield. I would love to see that. That is a dangerous offense.
Yeah.
So
I don't have anything personal against McKenzie, but that Kansas City game really fucking burnt my ass. Those two fucking
McKenzie.
So you see that trade?
games,
You see that trade as a positive for Buffalo, or do you see that as a negative? Because they got rid of rid of Zach Moss.
Yes,
Hines.
I know. So I'm not crazy about it.
I'm with Brad on this too.
I don't like
there's
Moss.
More to this than that.
And Zach Moss is but Zach Moss, one thing he did well, even though I don't like him, is he blocked incredibly well. He's a huge dude.
He's a big guy, yeah.
Supposedly, Colts say that he's good, that Hines is good at the pass rush block. I've also heard that he is not. So it's like, I don't know who to trust. I don't know if I can trust Colts fans.
I feel like you got to look at it like this.
Because they're Colts fans.
Now, Hines is behind a not-so-sturdy offensive line.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty rough.
He might be very, very good. Just behind 5 complete idiots. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've played terribly.
And Moss is behind 5 competent people, and he might be a piss poor
still
blocker.
Looking good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a good point.
Really just because it's not a.
I don't know how Buffalo's going to use him. I was not stoked about it. I bitched about it when Jim told me. I was not happy. Yeah. I was not happy about it. It's not that I didn't want Zach Moss gone. I just was not crazy about Hines going in. So I'm not saying that's going to be a net positive. I'm saying it could hurt the team for sure. Where he's good though is kick returns.
Got to get to the evening games.
Bruh, you said we're talking about Buffalo. We got to keep talking about Buffalo.
We'll come back if we have time.
Yeah, okay.
Seattle goes to Arizona. I actually see this as Seattle beats the fuck out of Arizona.
That's
how I see this game.
Settle down.
I do.
Settle down.
Kenneth Walker probably goes for 150. Probably. Geno just has to not make a mistake, and I think they win by a lot here. Lockett's in gear.
I don't think Geno made mistakes last week. I think it was Lockett.
No, I'm not saying he does. I'm saying for this weekend. If Geno does not turn the ball over, it's going to go very well for Seattle. That's how I see this game.
Just as long as receivers catch and don't drop it.
You're playing Metcalf. You're playing Lockett. Not super amped about it, but you're playing him because you probably had to draft him high. You're playing Geno just as much as you would any quarterback.
I'm starting Geno in multiple leagues.
Yeah, I mean, he's very playable. And, of course, like Walker is an auto start until he either the year finishes or he dies on the field.
Yeah.
But that wraps up Seattle. Who y'all got for Arizona? Who's somebody y'all are looking to play?
I think Eno could have a good game if Seattle doesn't get too far ahead. Eno's going to have a good game, similar to the New Orleans game. So that's like a hot take because I know when they get behind, their run game kind of suffers.
By the way, this is an absolute must-win for Arizona. If they lose, they have an 11% chance of making the playoffs.
Is Connor?
It's a 55.
Is Connor out?
Connor is probably going to be out. He has not practiced, and it's a game-time call. Even if he does play, I'm not playing him.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I think I would even play Eno over James Conner because I know he's going to go into that game. He's going to get hurt again. And James Conner is going to come out. I'd say
James
before
Conner
half.
sucks.
Before half.
Yeah.
Trash.
Because once he's hurt,
Exposed.
he's just not going to recover from it.
He doesn't have the benefit of he did last year where Edmonds was carrying the ball all the way downfield and then he got to fall into the end zone.
Yeah.
So he had to actually take real hits at the start of the season, and now he's a little broken toy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I mean, it's not even up for discussion. Of course, you're playing D-Hop. I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen a receiver come back from an injury or suspension and come back to 35 targets in 3 games.
Well, I mean, target share is ungodly.
Yeah.
I can't even. I don't even
15
understand.
targets
But
is insane.
let's talk about the effect for that, right? Because now your main man was Zach Ertz going into week 7, right?
Yeah.
He came off that suspension week 7. Your main man, Zach Ertz, is now your third man under even Brown or Moore.
More.
So because Moore had almost an identical game,
25-point game,
as last week, and now
that's
your man
trust.
Zach Ertz
That's
is getting three targets.
That's what's so crazy is more like Zach Ertz proved that he was valuable to Kyler before Hopkins was back and before they were using Moore.
Yep.
So it was Marquise Brown and Ertz. They were doing fine. Mm-hmm. Like Murray was good with that. And then D-Hop comes in, 15 targets immediately to D-Hop, and he throws to nobody else. The closest dude had 3 targets that game.
And they've lost 2 straight.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. So the math is there. If you're a fantasy owner, you love it. Right?
Oh, I love it.
But
absolutely.
But the reality is the team is not winning with their current strategy.
I cannot believe after that huge cut by Moore that he didn't get targeted again. It's like Murray. Why do you have no trust in this dude? It's unbelievable.
Moore's play against New Orleans should have set him up for a 45-point game, and they never threw him again.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Yeah.
All right. Los Angeles goes to Tampa. Okay. I have my dart throw this week on LA side of the ball. You're playing Cup.
Mm-hmm.
You aren't touching the running backs. But you are dart throwing Allen Robinson because Cup is nicked up. And even if Cup plays an 80 to 90% chance of the games, Allen has already been on an uptick scale the past 2 or 3 games. Already been more involved, making more plays, getting more chances, because if they want to win football games, they have to throw to people other than Cup and Higbee.
Yeah, they can't just do 7-yard checkdowns to Cup.
So Higbee, you're playing too, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But Allen Robinson's my dart.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, he only scored 1.2 points for me. My problem with Higbee is that he drops passes. He's fucking infuriating.
Yes, he drops a lot of passes.
There's nobody on you, dude. How are you that nervous? You have no coverage. You have no pressure.
I don't get it.
Pussy. Catch the damn ball. Put some gloves on. Fuck's sake.
What do you think, Brad?
For
Allen,
I like Allen's chance because here's the big thing about receivers is obviously you're going into a game as the number 1, right? But you're going in as the number 3 receiver in the league as Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
As Cooper Kupp, right? My main focus, obviously, as Tampa Bay is, hey, don't let Cooper Kupp whoop our ass. I think that's
the guy.
And so Stafford, knowing that, either Kupp is still going to whoop their ass because me believing, I still think that I said this to you over text, is I think the Rams play stupidly amazing against Tampa Bay. It just blows my mind how they just seem to just knock Tampa Bay down a notch. And I think they're going to do it this week, but I think they're going to use Higbee a little more, and I think they're going to use Allen Robinson a lot more.
Yeah.
And I think Kupp's still going to have a game to play. But I think Allen Robinson is still also going to be a wide receiver 3. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you, I'm pushing north of 20 points this weekend. I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's definitely going to have at least 7, 8 receptions, probably 10 targets.
Yep.
I think he's going to be the one to.
On Tampa's side, who you guys got?
Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are probably still safe starts. 15
Uncle
points
Lenny.
for sure. Of course.
Good old Uncle Lenny.
All he's waiting on is for them to beat the O-line again like they did 2 years ago. The O-line was a problem 2 years ago. They fixed it for a year, and then it's right back to the same issues they were having. But he's still really good. He can break lines, and he can catch and get you some yards. So there's no reason to not throw. You can flex Rashad White. I said this last week. I know you weren't talking to me, but you can flex Rashad White.
Yeah, I'd flex White. Yeah. Any dart throws that I'm not equipping for?
I'm going. I know you guys. Apparently, you guys don't like the tight end position here.
Oh, you're all right.
I'm hearing.
I'm fine with it.
Hearing the dislike for tight ends, but I'm going with Autumn. I might go with Autumn here.
Autumn,
only because I think that secondary is so good that you're not going to be able to really pay attention to your wide receivers. Now, Tom Brady will get it done, but I think that tight end is going to be able to sneak around and beat that linebacker.
He had like a 3-point game last week.
It's actually
That's all I'm saying.
with the same logic that I actually have a dart for Julio Jones. That's the same logic.
God.
Because the
Dumb
corners are going to be occupied with Evans and Godwin.
Yeah, we said that every week, and then they're not, and then those dudes
Julio-
are fucking irrelevant.
Yeah.
Julio sucks.
Right.
He needs
Hey,
to
it's why
retire.
it's dart.
It's tough.
That's why it's dart.
It's tough.
Whatever.
I'll take that dart.
Has he had a good week this year, Julio? Has he had a single good week?
He's had 2 weeks that were very playable.
It's fucking almost 10 weeks in the league.
And then we cap it off with actually a major showdown in the AFC. The Titans go to Kansas City. Titans side, Derrick Henry. Next question. That's it.
Yeah,
I don't know any other Titans you're playing.
Titans.
Nope. And we talked about Woods already. I think Woods is a number one for a lot of other teams, but that it just doesn't hold any value.
Also, Malik Willis is starting. Tannehill's not out. Tannehill's out.
Tannehill is out. So
he's out.
None of those wide receivers have value because Malik he's going to have a rough one.
I have a tough question for you, Brad.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Yeah.
Pick one Chiefs running back you would play.
Ooh. I have. That was tough. I'd probably go with Edwards Hilaire.
Yeah.
Only just because
I had to.
If your league has returning yards, I'm taking Pacheco.
Maybe I only have three. Now, me personally, I only have 3 running backs.
Yeah.
So me looking at how it all is going to go, maybe my running backs have bad matchups, and I'm just thinking Edwards Hilaire has got to be that guy to really show up. Willie, it's a tough game. But I actually do think he'll get more carries because that Kansas City team is just
agreed.
It's just gonna they're gonna blow the gates open, and Tennessee is just gonna do a lot of
as soon as they
receiving
get
core
up,
is getting it done.
If they get up by like 2-3 touchdowns, it's gonna be all Pacheco and CEH with the rest of the game.
That's true as well. But I don't think Kansas City got to go in here and be like, hey, we can just smoke them early. I don't think that's what they're gonna do. I would love to see it because Kansas City has every possibility to smoke every team.
It just depends on if they can keep Derrick Henry from scoring and keeping Tennessee in the game.
Well,
he can't rush for 300 yards.
Yeah,
that's what Mahomes got to throw for.
He's going to fucking do that. I hate you.
Yeah,
he's going to run do that for 300.
All right, and then we close Week 9 out with Baltimore at New Orleans. Now, this is not even really a dart throw. This is just a fact of it. If Mark Andrews sits and I got him on my bench, I'm throwing in likely. And I'm not even thinking twice about it. It doesn't even bother me. I'm throwing him right in.
Yeah.
It's a dude they love. It's a dude who's played well. And they're down their starting receiver. And Duvernay is pretty much all they got left. So I'm throwing in a pass catching tight end. And I'm not even worried about it. Moving on. Playing Lamar. Don't touch the backfield. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Because that backfield will burn the shit out of you.
Yep.
Is the Saints' third string quarterback the one that's in right now?
No, it's
Dalton
still Dalton.
Oh,
still
okay.
Dalton.
Yeah, it's going to be Dalton this week. And Jameis is healthy. From what I understand, Jameis is healthy.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in New Orleans that I don't understand.
I think they have more confidence right now in Dalton because of what he's been doing. But also he's done it with very little. Obviously, Thomas has been playing this toe in, and now
he's had a lot. He's had a lot.
And Taysom Hill and Kamara.
Yeah.
So not nothing.
Yeah.
I don't like Andy Dalton. I think Jameis Winston hasn't been able to play a real game yet.
I mean, it's Big Red.
Are you playing Duvernay over a lot of your receivers? Or what range do you have Duvernay in?
Duvernay.
He's going to go up
high with potential.
He's going up against Lattimore.
Yeah,
bro. If he's going up against Lattimore, I mean, it's going to be a fucking agonizing game for Duvernay.
It's going to be an agonizing game for Lamar.
Yes.
Because Lamar doesn't have.
He may rush for 300 yards. That actually might happen.
He might run more than their actual running backs. But,
yeah.
I mean,
that's a given.
Their running backs.
I mean,
I just don't seem like
you got Kenyon Drake. Gus Edwards is out. So you got Kenyon Drake and I don't know who else.
Kenyon.
He's a good player. He's a good player.
I think that would be my dark horse because if they don't want to, if they don't want to throw that ball as much this week because of Duvernay going to be locked up with Lattimore and dealing with all that, and you said Andrews is out.
It's looking like it. Yeah.
I really do.
He has not practiced yet this week.
I really do think if Kenyon's starting and he's going to get more snaps and he's going to get more carries than anybody else on the team, he might pop off. He might.
Yeah.
And there's a good possibility that he goes 50-50 with Lively, what the other dude's doing. And that's a possibility. But without Gus Edwards, he's
pretty thin.
He's probably going to get more than the other guy. I can't
Are there any dart throws that you guys think that I missed that you're looking at? You don't have to tell me. I mean, I can't pick them up now. It doesn't matter. But
on both sides.
It doesn't matter where.
So
any
now,
side.
Here's the big one, right? Because I know a lot of people have forgotten about it with Mike Thomas and the other guy who got hurt week 4.
Jarvis Landry.
Now, yes, there's a lot of faith in Olave to do his job.
Sneaky snake.
But Jarvis Landry, if he plays this week, I think he is going to ball.
I do.
I think he's.
I'll give you that. And he practiced yesterday and today. I like his chances of playing.
His chances are good.
I think he goes for 10 to 12 catches.
Yep.
I could see that 100%.
I think he has a week 1 performance where he just.
Have him and Dalton play together this season?
That is also
no.
Dalton should have more faith in Landry because Landry is leagues better than fucking Callaway, who got so many targets again in that Arizona game. Still mad about that. Fucking.
I don't think it affects Olave in any way whether he plays or not. But
no.
Yeah, but I agree with you. This is a great example. So here's what I'll even add to that point, and then we'll close it out. Landry will probably have a fantastic game. And then if Landry has that good game, another sneaky player that I like is Taysom Hill, right? If they don't have to do a gadget play and then they can choose to do a gadget play, that's when it's devastating. Mm-hmm. That's when the defense is doesn't have to account for Taysom on every play that he's on the field. When Taysom is on the field, now you have to pay super attention or he's going to go for a huge run. And if it's within the red zone and it's at the 10-yard line and Taysom Hill is at the Wildcat quarterback, it is a touchdown 88% of the time.
Yeah.
It's going to the right. I'm going to tell you now, hey, he's going this way. He's going right there. Yep. Nope. No one touched him. Yep. That tracks. Yep. It happens every time they get into that area of the field. You're banking on a touchdown for Hill. Yeah, I got you. But if Landry does well, you will see a little more Taysom. If the Ravens can push the Saints, if they can lead them and push them, I like Taysom and Landry even more. And of course, Kamara probably has a great game. I don't know. I'm sure he'll do fine, right? He'll get plenty of chances. But I like your Landry dark horse, and I will see you at Taysom Hill dark horse if yours goes off.
Tight ends aren't allowed to be dark horses. Shut the fuck up.
Likely definitely is. If Andrews is out, likely definitely is.
I don't think that's a dark horse. I think
it's a rookie tight end.
Yeah, but Lamar likes to throw to his tight end, so. That's
true. Have I forgotten anything on the week, gentlemen?
No, I don't think so.
No? Brad, I want to thank you so much, man, for joining us. I love the things you brought. Please consider joining us some more.
Oh, definitely.
We love your insight.
I got the 8 Eastern time this time, though. Don't worry about it.
That's right. That's on me. That's on me, dog. Next time, too, we'll get your secret list, the guys that you're keeping an eye on. Okay. See if we can help some folks pick up some late season acquisitions.
I mean, he was rocking in the middle of the season, but at this point, we're so fucking slim.
7-1 is not dead in the water. I don't know what you're talking
about.
saying
our the players left on free agency are all not real people.
With all those trades,
me and Brad talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time. You always got to be looking, man. Yeah, always.
Somebody's going to go.
I waiver every week.
You got to look at the.
Yep.
I go through and
our league is so thin. Our league is so thin.
But Brad's been able to do it. He's done it week in, week out, man. He's found a dude that this guy throws him in.
Well, that killed me because I was so fucking. I'm mad at you because you got Donta from me, and I was mad at Jim because he stole Stevenson from me. Especially after Jim talked shit about saying Donta's not going to be that dominant.
Didn't like him.
I knew that Donta was going to be dominant. I knew from the start. So it's like I keep getting robbed from my fucking free agency picks because somehow I'm in the middle of the goddamn pack. It's horse shit. Anyway. Frustrating.
Join us next week, guys. We're going to take off. And week 10 is where we finally get into playoff mode for fantasy because you are 3 weeks out. And when that happens,
Oh yeah, this season's getting short. I'm getting nervous.
The majority of trade deadlines are November 28th across the league. That is movable. Ours is currently set for the 28th of November. So if you don't have something in, I will explain next weekend the disasters that happen if you try to trade or cut players after the deadline. But that's all I got for y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming out here. Brad, thank you so much for joining us, man. We hope we can have you again.
Absolutely.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
We'll see y'all next week.
Yep.